Well, hello. My name is Sarah from 10 Minute Momentum, and today I am going to be doing some breakfast prep because in our house I've been trying this protein experiment, and what that means is I think I've noticed a pattern with some of my kids that if they don't get enough protein, especially in the morning, but also in the afternoon, like after they've been to school or had done sports, that their behavior, impulse control, frustration level is much higher. So for the past week, I've been making breakfast, get up in the morning, make a high protein breakfast, and I've definitely seen some good changes. So because I don't want to make breakfast every morning, I'm going to prep 4 different things today. I'm going to make French toast and some protein pancakes, these Kodiak ones, and some breakfast burritos and breakfast sandwiches, and hopefully that will last a couple weeks. I have a lot of teenagers. I have 5 teenagers right now, and they can eat. They can eat a lot. So that's my plan. I'm going to start by getting the French toast ready and getting the scrambled egg mix ready for the breakfast sandwiches. Sorry, the breakfast burritos. And then I'm going to start cooking, and I'm going to see if I can multitask. I have a few hours before I have to start running around this afternoon. So we'll see how much I get done. All right, so my plan is to crack 3 dozen eggs for the French toast because I'll be making, I don't know how many dozen. I have a lot of bread, so I will make it until I run out of the egg mix. And then I'm gonna do 2 dozen eggs for scrambled eggs, and then we'll see how much French toast that makes too. So, let's see here. 3 dozen eggs. Now when I make French toast, I usually add vanilla, homemade vanilla, and cinnamon to it. And when I make it on a school morning, I usually use about 1.5 loaves of bread and about 2 dozen eggs. So this isn't really going to be that much French toast. It'll probably be enough for like 1.5 mornings, but they'll have some variety. You know, I've made French toast almost every day for a week, so some of them are starting to get a little tired of it. And when I go to Amish country in a couple days, I will buy another gallon of maple syrup, because when we are doing a lot of things like breakfast foods like, you know, French toast and pancakes and whatnot, we're definitely going through the maple syrup as well. And Amish country is definitely the best place around here to buy it. We buy a gallon at a time. The last time I went down, it was $46 a gallon. So, and that will last us usually several months. But with making breakfast foods every day, I'm not exactly sure how long that gallon is going to last us. But we usually do shopping in Amish country about once a month. So, you know, if we go through it a little faster, then we'll just buy another gallon next month. All right, so I have 3 dozen eggs here, and I cracked 2 dozen eggs for the breakfast burritos. So I'm gonna mix up this French toast mix, and then I'm going to start those cooking and chop up a few veggies to, I'm gonna chop up a few vegetables to go in my breakfast burritos. Now I did already, I cooked a ham this morning, so I have ham for the sandwiches and the breakfast burritos, and I have green peppers from last year that I chopped up at the end of the season. And you might wonder, like, are they still good here a year later? And they are. They're still good. I used them a few days ago. with all these chopped green peppers. So I've been trying to use those up, and I'll use some of them in these breakfast burritos here that I'm gonna cook in a few minutes. But first, this is for the French toast. So I've got 3 dozen eggs in here, and we like a lot of cinnamon. So I'm putting a heaping, just spoon. I'm not great at measuring with the actual correct gadgets unless I know it's something where it really counts. So this is our homemade vanilla, and I just leave it in the vodka bottle because we use so much of it, and I make it about once a year. And I'm measuring a teaspoon. I'll probably use 2. This is something where a little more, a little less, it works out fine. And I just kind of eyeball it on the milk. That was probably about a cup of milk in there. I know with milk you can put a little more, a little less, and it works out fine. This is definitely one of those recipes where your measurements don't have to be exact. And I like that. I like those kind of recipes where I can kind of eyeball it and just guess if it's correct, and it still works out. You could make French toast without any milk at all. You could make it without cinnamon. You could make it without vanilla. So, and you could add other spices if you'd like to. Like if you like nutmeg or ginger or whatever, feel free to mix it up. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this griddle onto 400 when I cook these, and I found that just seems to be a temperature where they cook pretty quickly. And so I'm gonna get these started, and then I'm gonna start chopping the onion and get the next thing started too. All right, so while the French toast are cooking, and I've got some vegetables cooking over there for the breakfast burritos, I'm gonna start these power cakes, these Kodiak power cakes. They have whey in them, and so they already have a lot of protein, but you can actually make them have more protein if you add milk and eggs to them, which I'm going to do. One of my sons is a weightlifter, and my husband is too, and so they are always trying to pack in the protein. So this recipe on the back set is of course for 1 cup of mix. So I'm not sure how many cups of mix come in this package. So I'm gonna measure this out here and see, because I'm definitely making several packages of this at one time since I'm gonna put them in the freezer. So it looks like it's about 3 cups of the pancake mix are in each box. So I'm gonna make several of those, probably at least 3. And so I'm gonna mix that up while these are cooking. And the nice thing with this is it's pretty easy. It's pretty open and go. They already have a lot of really healthy ingredients in them, but you can just add water and that would be it. But I'm gonna add eggs and milk instead of water. I might add a little bit, I know, I'm gonna experiment. I'm kind of an experimenter. I'm gonna add some pumpkin to this. Because this mix that I have is a cinnamon oat mix, and this one would taste great already with pumpkin, so I'm gonna add pumpkin to mine and see how that goes. It should be fine. I haven't made pumpkin pancakes in a while, but it should be fine to just add that right in. French toast is coming along nicely, and we'll probably have a few more batches on here before we're done. All right, so I'm gonna add this pumpkin, this Green Valley Organics pumpkin to my mix. Again, this is kind of where you take the directions and you go off book a little bit, but it should be fine. I'm not adding so much that it will change it. And you know, pumpkin's popular this time of year in the fall. I'm just gonna mix that in. And then as soon as these French toast are done, which I've got maybe like one more batch to go. As soon as those are done, then I can start cooking these pancakes, which is perfect because while the pancakes are cooking, I can kind of wrap up these breakfast burritos. All right, so add a little pumpkin in there. That's ready. And I'm gonna finish up these French toast and be ready to move on to the next thing. So this is what these look like as pancakes, and they are, I mean, I didn't measure them out when I made them. They are super thick and big. And so what I think I'm gonna do instead is turn it into muffins because the batter seems very similar to muffins to me. I've used their muffin batter before. Seems very similar, and I can cook up 48 muffins all at one time if there's that much batter, and it will speed up my process quite a bit. So I'm going to convert these pancakes for the rest of the batter. I'm going to convert it into muffins. So I filled 48 muffin cups. The other ones are in the oven already. And there's just a little bit of batter left. So I'll cook up a few more of these as pancakes so I can clean out the bowl and finish packaging up the French toast and pancakes into Ziploc bags. They're open still so they can cool. And then I'll be able to move on to the breakfast burritos and breakfast sandwiches. Coming right along. Okay, so I've got the French toast going, and so now what I'm going to do is just chop up a couple onions, and I have these potatoes that are actually left over from dinner a few nights ago, and I'll just peel those and cut those up too, and those will go into the breakfast burritos. I don't know about you, but when I cook, I like to see if I can use up some things out of my refrigerator when I'm making another meal, just to prevent a lot of leftovers from going to waste. All right, so here we are. We have the onions chopped, the potatoes chopped. I'm gonna go throw this in the pan to keep cooking with the green peppers that I started. And then I'm gonna chop up some ham to go in with the breakfast burrito eggs as well. So there's that. That's the peppers, onions, and potatoes cooking. I'm gonna let them saute there for 10 minutes or so. I'll cover them with a lid and I'll throw the ham in there. And once all that's cooked and ready, then I will throw the eggs in with it to cook all of that together. So the onions, peppers, ham, everything looks like it's cooking nicely. Looks like vegetables are cooked, the onions are soft. So now I'm going to pour in the egg mix. I'm going to let that cook on kind of a, I'm going to turn that down, a lower temperature. Just going to let that cook for a bit. Stir that in. It'll be like scrambled eggs when it's done, and then it'll be ready to make into breakfast burritos. These eggs are coming along nicely. They're not quite done, but a few more minutes. I don't know if you ever have this problem when there's a lot of vegetables in there. Sometimes there's more water as the vegetables kind of cook down. So a few more minutes and these will be ready to go in the breakfast burritos. All right, so now I'm making the breakfast burritos, which I bought the 10-inch tortillas from Aldi. I think they're 10-inch, the large burrito tortillas. And I'm just putting some of this egg mix in here and putting a sprinkle of cheese and, kind of eyeball a little bit. And roll that up together. And then I have some of this dry wax paper that I'm wrapping each of them in. And then I will put these in a freezer bag. They don't each need their own Ziploc bag or anything like that, but that paper will help them keep their shape. Now, when I made this scrambled egg mix, I used 2 dozen eggs along with all the other ingredients. So I'm actually kind of curious to see how many burritos this makes, because I don't actually know. It's been a while since I've made breakfast burritos, and in the past I would use the smaller tortillas, but honestly these big ones are so much easier, and everything doesn't fall out of them. So that's why I opted to go with the bigger ones. Plus my kids are big. They want to eat bigger food at this stage of life. So we'll see how many breakfast burritos this makes. So far we have actually about 54 French toast, about 12 pancakes, 48 muffins, and we'll see how many breakfast burritos come out of this too. So the muffins are done here, and I'm super happy with how those turned out. The texture is just how you would want a muffin to be. And I finished wrapping the breakfast burritos, and there were 24 exactly. So I've got 24 breakfast burritos to go along with French toast and pancakes and everything else. So up next, and the last thing, is to make breakfast sandwiches. For that, we're going to use these English muffins, eggs, ham, cheese. We'll wrap them all up and they'll be ready for the freezer. All right, so we are on the last thing, and that is breakfast sandwiches made from English muffins. So the first batch of English muffins are in the oven. I'm toasting them lightly, hopefully not overly toasting them, because normally when we make a breakfast sandwich, you would have the bread lightly toasted. Now, of course, these are going to be frozen and microwaved when they're ready to be eaten, although they could be reheated in the oven, and that would work just fine as well. So first batch of English muffins is ready to come out. I'm going to start these eggs on the griddle, and pretty soon we'll be ready to put these sandwiches together. So that's what they look like before they're assembled. Just the English muffin that's been broiled. I'm using American cheese, an egg, a little bit of ham, and then we just close them all up, and I'll wrap them in wax paper, and that'll be it. These ones are actually really quick and easy to make. Don't make a mess. They're surprisingly easy. I'll definitely be doing these again in the future. All right, well, that's a wrap. I ended up with only 24 of the breakfast sandwiches, and I packaged them back up in their bags. Like, I wrapped them in this wax paper, and then I repackaged them back in the English muffin bags, and those are going to go in the freezer that way. So I ended up with 52 or 54 French toast, 12 pancakes, 48 muffins, 24 breakfast sandwiches, and 24 breakfast burritos, which seems like a lot of food. As I'm looking at it, I think this should last a long time, but I think it'll last about a week, week and a half. I don't know. I don't know how long it'll last. That'll be interesting to find out. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, for being here while I cook. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and come back next time when we do other tips for food or teaching our kids. It was so nice to have you here today.